Hey guys, what is up? AwesomeTheSauce here. Hope you guys are having a great day. And welcome to a video where we're going to be talking about Wizard101's latest controversy. So if y'all don't know, in Test Realm, they're revamping a lot of AoEs, meaning spells that hit everybody. Now, the ones that they're specifically changing are the ones that are lore spells, meaning they're not the ones that you naturally learn, but the ones that you can craft, you get them dropped. So the big ones that a lot of people are talking about are Ship of Fools, Deer Knight, and obviously the one and only Ratatata. In case it's not obvious, every time I say ratatata in this video, I'm talking about this spell because I don't know how to pronounce it. Well, I don't know how anyone pronounces it. But the reason a lot of people are talking about these is because AoEs are very, very important in Wizard101. When you're questing through the game, it's very important that you have AoEs because every battle, like let's say I went into this battle, I'm facing a 1v2. I'm not trying to defeat one and then the other. What a lot of people will do is they'll pack like, you know, certain buffs and certain AoEs, and then that's how they kill their opponents, you know, when they're PvEing. So what are these changes specifically, right? There's actually multiple problems that people are having. I think some of them are actually definitely valid, and other ones I seem to see misinformation. So I thought I would talk about all of the stuff that they're changing in this update when it comes to AoE specifically, and talk about how some of it's not the end of the world and some of it is stuff that they could actually change in Test Realm. So let's talk about a spell like Ship of Fools, right? So a lot of people are kind of freaking out because right now this is how it looks like in Live Realm, and this is how it looks like in Test Realm. Now, it might not actually look that different to you, but what you might notice on the top left of the card is it has a school pip added onto it. Presumably, Ratatata will also have the same change added onto it, and what people are freaking out about is these are spells that are basically only available essentially to level 50 because that's when you get your base Archmastery rating. And that's a really fancy way of saying you just start getting those school pips that you need to use those cards at level 50. Which means really from level 1 to 50, you're gonna have to single hit your opponents if you're a low level. That's what people have a real issue with. Now, honestly, I actually don't think that's actually a big issue because they actually are giving you the ability to get Archmastery lower than level 50. We don't know the exact details of this, but what I'm gonna assume is that they're gonna, basically there's many ways to get this Archmastery rating that you need for the school pips. And while you get a base one without doing any work for it on your gear at level 50, there is gear that can give it below level 50. And what I think is going to be a logical thing that they do, I would assume that this deck vendor or maybe the jewel vendor here, or maybe, I don't know, like anyone like that, I assume that they're going to be like literally selling Archmastery rating. So if you wanted, all you would have to do is buy one of these decks from here, and lower than level 50, you could use spells like Ratatata, like Ship of Fools. Meaning, really, the only barrier to using these new spells is figuring out how to set your mastery. It's really easy. There'll be like a little symbol on your deck. You set it to your school that you need it. It's super easy. I really doubt it's going to affect anything. The other thing to note is that a lot of people were talking about how, yo, like, if you need a school pip and it takes more than a round to get a school pip, it's still going to slow down questing, right? No, it's literally not, because literally every mob in the game right now is going to be literally having no Archmastery, meaning if you have any Archmastery, you'll get a school pip once every round. So yes, it's a little bit of a different change with Ship of Fools, with Ratatata. Yeah, but I mean, honestly, if you really need AoEs before level 15, I think something's wrong. And even if you do need it below level 15, there are pet talents that give Archmastery. So if you really want, I assume at the point, like if you're at the point where you're really trying to AoE below level 15, I assume people have the resources to make a pet with Archmastery, meaning you could literally do this at any level. But that's not the only thing that people got heated over when they looked at the spell on it. Deer Knight also changed, and this one's a little different because this is an OG spell. A lot of people love it, but basically it's an AoE that is an overtime, and basically what they're changing it is to an AoE that hits and weaknesses. So what you see right here, right, is the current Deer Knight, and Deer Knight, I mean, it's pretty decent. Like I have a tier 2'd, but I mean, it's really good. It's like 600 damage almost. And instead of that, they're making it way lower with a weakness. They're actually making it 300 damage, but it has an AoE weakness. Which, here's the thing, the utility literally makes a lot of sense for depth, but there's like a tweet that came out about this, like someone was really annoyed about it. And that's because this is like a really big change, and I think this highlights a really important issue. When you're auditing spells, especially spells that don't affect PvP and don't affect the balancing of player versus player, I think they should always, when they revamp a spell, they should always make a spellman path for the original version of it. Meaning it should start with this form, and there should be this spellman path should be kept, and there should be another spellman path for whatever new thing that they're adding. But is this really like a crazy change? In my opinion, honestly, no, because here's the thing, when you enchant, a Deer Knight, some of the enchant goes on the initial hit, and some of the enchant goes on the non-initial hit. So even though Deer Knight as an overtime will do more damage than the new version in Test Realm, if you're enchanting this hit and enchanting the weakness hit, you'll actually do way more damage up front and have a weakness, and you don't have to wait for the AoE to finish off your fight. Now, we can honestly split hairs about if the Deer Knight changes a nerf, if it doesn't matter, and I think there will be a lot of opinions on this, but I do think what it highlights to me, the fact that so many people care about this, is the fact that there's a lot of alienating that happens when you gear audit, when you change spells, when you do all of these things to spells that have been in the game for a while. There's a lot of people that play this game after returning for a while. There's a lot of people that see changes, see an update like Novus, and they want to see it. And I think that it's going to be a real challenge going forward when you're, first off, righting a lot of wrongs in the past when it comes to how spells are balanced in general, but also just keeping the game the same for people that played in the past, while also keeping it dynamic for people that have continued playing and want something new. What I'm saying is I can totally see why a returning player would be very overwhelmed by changes like this, which is why I think whenever they change a spell like Deer Knight, which I think they are going to do this, by the way, in Test Realm, I think they should keep the original way it was as a spellman path. Unless there's something truly unbalanced about it, I don't think, which I don't think this was unbalanced or a 5-pip AoE, then I don't think there's any reason to take it away entirely. Here's the thing, y'all. The fact that they literally are able to give you Arch Mastery below level 50 shows that they clearly care about making lore AoEs, like, very, very available if you want to play that way. And I think it does show that they're, you know, receiving feedback and they care about it. I honestly think that this should just be the way that they go about it in the future if they audit spells, right? Like, audit it. If the community has some kind of backlash to it, just add a spellman pad. All the mechanics are in the game to make literally everybody happy, so I don't see why they don't just pursue that. Honestly, there's a lot of spells that changed in Test Realm that I wasn't able to make a video on because I was away. I'll try to make a video on everything when Test Realm drops again this week. Honestly, I think it's just going to go into Live Realm soon, so there'll be tons of content coming. So drop a like, drop a sub, turn on noties, and as always, if somebody hasn't told you you're awesome today, they doing something wrong. So stay awesome, y'all, and yeah, y'all.